Hi, welcome back to a book talk with Rachel Zufa. So it's been a while, but I want to talk to you about graphic novels serial style. In my old fashioned dinosaur age, we would just call them comics. But now we like to refer to anything that represents a story using both pictures and words as being integral as graphics. So, to begin with, I do want to give a special shout out to Boombox because two of the graphics I'm going to talk about today were supplied by them when I attended a conference. And I want to thank them very much because I enjoyed them so much. I'm actually reviewing them. So thank you very much. And so the very first one I'm going to talk about is heavy vinyl. Okay. Um, I just love this cover. By the way, I love both of the covers of the Boombox publications. And this one, the first one, and I'm hoping there's going to be more, collects the very first four issues, Riot on the Radio. And as you can tell, this is going to be a female dominant comic series. Now, that does not mean, my men, that you cannot enjoy this, or my non binary friends. This has a protagonist. Our protagonist right here, our main character, is queer, and she wants to work at Heavy Vinyl, the coolest record store in town. And I know vinyl's making a comeback, which for us old people is sort of bizarre, but I love it because I remember spending so many afternoons in my sister's bedroom because she had the best vinyl collection ever. And this is where she wants to work. This is where, like, she loves to hang out. And for those of you who have that special place you love to hang out, like whether it is a coffee house, a bookstore, a comic store, you know that feeling. And so this is her dream job. She's in high school. And the other people that work there, some of them are in high school, some of them maybe have just left high school. And they're cool. They're all different. It's a diverse cast. And the best way, I guess, to describe this book is it's like, uh, I don't know, it's kind of like Scooby-Doo, because there's definitely like a mystery, and it's not like they're practiced when it comes to solving mysteries, but it's also kind of like a Fight Club. Like, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about Fight Club because while on the surface, they are all working in the record store, okay? And just so you know, like our main character, Chris, right here, she is completely unaware that this is going on when she first comes into the store. There is like a secret vigilante group. The rest of the staff is downstairs training like Fight Club. And it's started, and I'm not going to give away too much, but basically it started because of a mystery that sort of fell into their lap. And it's all music related. It is all like drawn into music. If you are a fan of mysteries, if you are a fan of just, like, you're one of those people that just, you're drawn to sitting in places and you love like a certain place that just like draws you in, this is for you. If you love seeing strong, diverse characters, this is for you. If you have ever felt like you don't belong somewhere and then you finally find a place, or you're looking for a place, this is the story for you. I was absolutely captivated. I loved it. And I am so hoping there's going to be more because it leaves itself open for more. And to me, I think music is one of the things we all have in common. Like, I know everybody today has, streaming music, but when I was a kid, the greatest invention was the Walkman because I could tune out the adults in my world. And so I feel like this is such a key thing. I do want to show you the artwork because I feel like it's so important. So let me show you the artwork. It has this really cool, vibrant feel to it. The texting is very clear. I do want to give credit to the authors. Carly Usdin is the creator and writer of this. And then Nina Vakueva is the penciler, the artist. Of course, there's always a number of people who participate in creating any kind of graphic. It is inked by Irene Flores, colored by Rebecca Nalty with Kieran Quigley and Walter Biomonte, and lettered by Jim Campbell. The cover was done by Nina Vakueva, who did do all the penciling on this. Excellent. Please check it out. Highly recommended. Okay. The next one that I want to show you, also by Boombox, is Fence. Okay. Now, I gave you a female dominant one. Doesn't mean anything. I've never been one that's like, this is for men, this is for women, or, you know, whatever, because gender don't matter to me. But this, I'm giving it, this is going to be a male dominated one. And this one is so awesome. Can I just tell you, look at me. Look at me. I am not athletic, okay? Do it look like I know anything about fencing? I did not grow up in a community where people were like, wah, wah. The most I knew was from Zorro, okay? So, Fence, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce my authors right away before I forget, okay? So, this is created and written by C.S. Pacat. C.S. Pacat. And C.S. Pacat is well known for The Captive Prince, which started out on the web and then became print. And Johanna the Mad is the person who illustrated this. And let me just go ahead and give credit for colors, Joanna Lafuente, and letters by Jim Campbell. And this cover is done by Johanna the Mad. So, of course, there's many more people involved in both of everything I'm talking about. I'm just trying to give credit where I can. So please look them up because it takes like a lot of people to make one of these things, okay? So, Fence, let me tell you what this is about. So, the individual you see looking very stern on the cover. This is how he is always going to look for the most part. Okay, this is Seiji. And Seiji is a master fencer, like incredibly, like just, do you see him have any weaknesses in this book? Very rarely, okay? And then you have Nicholas, and Nicholas is the illegitimate son of this professional, world-renowned fencer. And the way that this starts out, because Nicholas, we really see more from Nicholas's point of view, okay? So he is our protagonist. And we see him struggling. He wants recognition. He finds out on his own who his father is. And he manages to get a scholarship to go into this very private, very boarding school where fencing is the sport. Okay, like when we talk about the sport, we're talking the sport. Okay, and fencing tends to be the sport of very kind of elitist schools. It doesn't mean if you do the sport you're elitist, okay, but it's kind of one of those sports. Seiji also gets into this school, and they end up being roommates. And they, you know, right off the bat, it's going to be one of those like, they're either going to love each other, going to hate each other. And so you watch this tension play out in the book, okay? But it is an all-boys school. And yes, you got like relationships happening, whether it's friendships, whether it's romantic, but you also have this competitiveness because at the end, it's kind of like there can be only one for this huge competition who is going to represent the school. And so while they are a team, they're also not because they really want to kind of tear each other down. And it's interesting to see how they compete against each other. I know nothing about fencing, as I already told you, yet I was intrigued by it. The way the Pacat introduces just enough for you to understand what is happening in the sport and for you to follow along. And Johanna the Mad's illustrations really draws you into the sport. I'm like, I can't believe I'm this like excited about fencing. I am, because it's not just about fencing, it is about the people. And then you feel for Nicholas because guess who else is at this school? The legitimate son of his dad. For real. For real. Drama, drama, drama. There are more after this first volume. There are more. Let me just show you the technique. I feel like this is sort of like border on like a manga style, but it's not. And it is really great for those of you who do like manga. I think that you will appreciate some of the drawings. I think that it will definitely captivate you. Brilliant colors, a very diverse cast. And surprising because it's fencing. I'm like, black people fence? And I know, bias on my part, but I'm sitting here thinking this is really an elitist kind of sport. I picture just, I don't know what I picture. I guess I never pictured anything. And so this was really a refreshing book for me in confronting my own biases about what this sport is and what it means. And so I really, really enjoyed it, and looking forward to more. Highly recommend it. Okay. So now I get to go to one that's older, a little bit older, and one that I have read before. I'm gonna cheat a little bit, but one that I love so much that yes, I actually have signed by Joe Hill himself, and framed because geek. Locke and Key. Okay. Now, Lock and Key technically is finished, but Joe Hill, who is the creator and writer, along with his creative partner, Gabriel Rodriguez, who does all of the drawing for the book. And I'm trying to think anybody else. He does all of the art. I'm trying to think. The colors are done by Jay Photos and the letters by Robbie Robbins. And this is IDW. As an aside, because I want to give Joe Hill a shout out, he now has his own line of comics as well, which look intriguing. But there are more Lock and Key books in that world coming out. And so I do want to give a shout out because it is still serial. Lock and Key became also a Netflix show, but the graphic serial has so much more depth to it. So in the first volume, Welcome to Lovecraft, let me just go ahead and set the premise. So imagine your family has experienced a tremendous trauma. Like we're talking a trauma that is so bad, you move from one side of the United States to the other. You just have to. And you end up going back to the family estate. Okay, now, not all of us have a family estate. I don't. This family does. But it is a place that really nobody ever wanted to return to, but you have no other place to go. And when you're there, this place has keys. Notice the key on the front. Yes. And there are multiple keys. Keys that can do unimaginable things. Keys that can unlock your head and allow you to remove things like your fear, or maybe add things. What would you add if you could? Keys that can allow you to leave your body and go into the spirit world. Is this a good thing? Now imagine that you're not the only ones that know about these keys, that there is an entity who wants these keys too, and who has already killed for them. Welcome to Locke and Key. It is a family. There's a mother. There are 3 children. There is violence in this, okay? The other 2 books, definitely written for a young adult age group. Joe Hill, just, I think, writes his stories. I do think this is appropriate for young adults who are ready and okay with violence. But I'm not going to lie, violence. Also trauma, grief, okay? So if these are things that you feel comfortable with and you can handle, yes, but this is for mature audiences, as in, yes, I think it is okay for certain young adults. I would have been able to handle it as a young adult. I know my husband probably could have done it in middle school because he was reading Joe Hill's dad, Stephen King, in middle school. But it all depends on the individual, okay? So let me show you the artwork, okay? It's a muted palette at times, especially when they're going back into a certain time period, okay? At other times, it's very, very graphic. And I don't want to show certain things, so I don't want to give things away, okay? But that gives too much away. And it's like in the first page. But Yes, at other times, like when they're going into certain places, I just want to kind of show you some of the scenes. Muted palette, the text is clean. The characters are so real, very diverse. And as horror, because this is horror, it is compelling and the story feels very real. But what I liked about it, it isn't just about it's not gore. This is about real people experiencing something and about a family. And what does it mean to grow through that? But it's also so cool. Because at the end of the day, we want to read something that's fun. So, Lock and Key by Joe Hill, Gabriel Rodriguez. And this is through IDW. So, I hope that you found something that sounds really kind of cool, something different. I try to present some things that were very, very different. A little bit of mystery, a little bit of fun, a little bit of horror, because, you know, you got to have that to just, you know, make your day feel better. I mean, if that's not your life, you're looking a whole lot better, right? Yeah. So, graphics, serial style, old school dinosaurs would call them comics. But if you haven't read it, do so. And for any adults watching, I want to express this as a librarian. It does not mean that if you are reading graphics or comics, as you might call them, that it is somehow not real reading. In order to be able to read these sorts of books, you have to be able to take in both the pictures, the illustrations, as well as the writing, which means your brain is doing double time. And so the kind of retention and critical thinking that goes on is incredible. So let your children read. Let them read these things. Let them read mangas. Let them read graphics. Because research shows that it is an excellent form of retention and reading and critical thinking. Okay. And maybe you should pick something up because you never know. You might find something really cool. All right. So until next time, I hope you are safe. I hope you are well. Happy reading. And I look forward to talking to you again.